Well, hello my fellow car mallers. How are you doing today? We have got a really cool show for you today. We're going to do something a little different that we don't do on this channel, that I always say I don't usually do. And we've taken some attempts and it always kind of falls apart on me. It's not really my thing. You guys have wanted me to do something like this. Don't expect it all the time, but I feel like doing it. We are going to build a model. Yeah, this is not an April Fool's joke. We already did that. And it's not an airplane. I really do want to build a car model with you guys. Felix is here to test. That's what the noise is in the background. You see that little guy over there? He won't be quiet in the studios. But, you know, that's okay, because this is a real exciting day. We're going to start a model, but it's a particular model I got really excited about. And let's talk about where I got the model from. Well, I've talked to you guys before about the Salvino's JR Builders Club. Really cool if you're not in it, man. You get some really good perks. But the real cool thing is when they come out with a new model every month, and we get to find out about it a month or two before, and then we also receive that kit with some extra goodies. I've showed that when we did the opening of my last month's kit, that Richard Petty Charger. And we tend to get things a little earlier than the most of you. Well, we do get things earlier than the most of you. So we got the next kit already. I received it yesterday, and I was really excited about this one. I thought, I want to build this thing. This is a car I've wanted to build forever. It's an obscure car. It's a kit, not so much a new one for them as far as the kit itself, but the subject matter is brand new and off the wall, and you would never have expected anybody to do this. And it's really, really cool. And let me show you how off the wall this is. Look at that. It's a 70s big Monte Carlo. Some of you NASCAR guys, it's from the 81 season. Mountain Dew car, Darrell Waltrip. Wait a second. Darrell didn't drive one of these. And in 81, they downsized the cars. What's going on? Well, I can tell you all about that if you want to know. Do you want to know?
I got to know.
This is an actual car. One race. 1981. Oh, yeah. The year of the downsizing. And Darrell Waltrip's first race with Junior Johnson after leaving Dyguard. Oh, what a cool, unique thing. Me being the Darrell Waltrip fan, and I like building a lot of his cars, that was one I wanted to do because it was so obscure. But the markings, if you look, the markings aren't exactly like the way the Buick were, so it was kind of a challenge to try to figure out the decals. Well, thank you, the guys at Salvino's, the three amigos, they took care of me. And we're doing this car. It was an obscure one. It was from the Riverside race, the first race of the year. Yep, I said it, the first race of the year. You guys who don't really were back then being the NASCAR fans that you were back in those days, they'd start the season out over in California at the road course at Riverside, the great Riverside road course. What would usually go on is you'd see a lot of new teams, you'd see a lot of guys come out, but they wouldn't bring out their new cars. They would always like have just one of the old cars from the previous seasons. So it was always kind of a weird race where like sometimes new drivers, new teams, and all that stuff would get kind of used to each other and come up with the kind of a weird paint scheme. Sometimes you'd see some weird stuff at that particular race before the season really kicked off at the Daytona 500 the following race. There was always some unique stuff at the Riverside race, the first race this season. Well, in 1981, some of you don't know, was a really pivotal year for NASCAR. Very similar to what's about to happen for us next season with all the changing of the cars and the wheels and all this. Back in 1981, it was finally to happen because all the cars over the 70s got smaller. Everybody's driving smaller cars. Nobody's making those big land yachts anymore like the Monte Carlo and all them big things. And it was time to downsize the cars. So old Bill France, he decided it's time to change things. And we're going to go from those big 115, 116 inch wheelbase down to 110, where most of your little cars were actually like around 105, 108, but they brought it down to about 110 standardized for the chassis, and it was all new cars to come. But they let it slide for one race. They allowed all the teams to run their old 115-inch wheelbase cars at the Riverside race in California, the first race of the season. And that is why you see a brand new driver with a brand new paint scheme and sponsor at Junior Johnson's. But all this car really was the old Busch beer car that Cale drove the year before at a lot of the short tracks and intermediate tracks. But at that point, there was a couple cars, but we'll get into that, of how I'm like wanting to build this car and trying to figure out what to do. But it was just a repainted car. It was an old car. Wasn't built specific for the 81 season and for Daryl to drive. It's just, let's take a ready-made car that we've already had at Riverside and let's go racing, and then we'll break out the big guns and the good new stuff for Daytona. So that is why this car is so unique, and it's just been something of a fancy of mine of wanting to build, and I just got excited that they're taking a chance of doing something that's so off the wall, and a lot of people won't know what the heck it is. And here, Salvino's JR guys, they just say, heck it, we're going to do it, and they did it. And oh man, it's so cool. So I want to build this car. I'm just going to do a nice, quick, out of the box, maybe a little detail. I got one particular thing I want to do. It will give me a chance to show you something cool and new. But I want to build this car. We're going to do it in this video, one video. That's it. I don't know how long this video is going to be at this point when I'm talking to you. But what the heck, you know? Let's do this thing. That's the story. That's what happened. I'm not lying. Let's start building. What do you say? All right, fellow car modelers, let's take a look at this. First of all, we're going to talk about it before we open it. And what I want to do with this car is, there's not a lot of information on this thing, but I'm going to try my best to do it from what couple of pictures that I have of this car and what other guys have and what has been sent to me. So there's not a lot of information on this car, but I had been doing a little research and deducting what this car was, and I believe this was a car that ran a lot of short tracks and road courses the prior years when Cal was driving it with the Busch Beer sponsorship. And here's a couple pictures, and you can see the things that I circled that point out a few key elements to being this car. Is the fact that you see this red, bit of red up at the top of the door. I think we had some red door panels possibly, or just the sheet metal that was up on top of there. There was something red that kind of went into the doors, which it possibly could mean that this had a red chassis like the Busch Oldsmobile. But it's really hard to tell in the pictures. It could be black. Don't know for sure. And we also have this bulged, kind of bubbled flare in the back of this particular car when it was the Busch car, and it looks the same as this Darrell Waltrip driven Mountain Dew car. With all that kind of little deductions here and there, what I think we have is just decided to take the liberties of, I'm just going to do the chassis black. It looks like we have green wheels. You can see kind of green wheels in this picture. This is like probably the best picture of the car they used on this box art. And that is just, you know, fine with me. You know, I'm not trying to build a super duper, well, as a matter of fact, it's not going to be a super duper detailed model we're going to build this thing almost out of the box, but I just got a few things I want to do to get the look of this car. So I'm not going to worry about, I think I just want to go with a black chassis. It's just easy. It'll be quicker with just shooting the chassis kind of a semi-gloss flat black. I'll be using the Tamiya flat, not flat. I think I'm going to go with semi gloss. Let's do that. And one thing that really catches my eye of this car that I want to replicate is this bulge in the fender right there. It's a little bit here, but it was really bulbous right here, very bubbled just around the wheel well, in just this area of the quarter panel. And I want to do that. I want to create that. And that also gives me an opportunity to show you guys another way of doing some fender flares. It's pretty neat. We're going to do this model very simple. I think I'm just going to use what's available from Tamiya to paint this. Just Tamiya white. I got to go run over to Andy's and find a color that green that will probably work out. I haven't really decided. Best thing we can tell is this was possibly a metallic green. I always thought it was more of just a forest green, but there's been some other pictures that have popped up. It looks like it is a metallic, a very, very light metallic. So we'll probably go in that direction. And, you know, I think it'll turn out great. Great box art. Love it. Another cool picture under here. And that'll be helpful. I'm going to set that off aside because it's inspirational. But here we go with this cool body. I'm just going to put this off aside. I really want to just look at this body. And Jim really designed the fender flares on this body pretty accurate to how they were in the 70s. It would vary from car to car. They just pounded on these things back in those days. There were no English wheels and whatnot. So I feel I'm probably going to do some changes to this wheel well. I'm going to show you some real cool stuff that I like to do to give it that thin sheet metal look. We're going to knife edge. I've done it in videos in the past, but we're going to do it again. I'm going to knife edge this so it looks like thin sheet metal. We're probably going to open this up a little bit more, shape it a little bit different because it's kind of an odd shape on the real car from what we see in a few pictures. But this fender here, I want to put that bulb into it. Probably won't change the shape much, but we're going to put that bulb right on there. And then we got to blank out that and put one over here. And this is going to be fun. Not much more else to do to the body. I think it'll be cool. We maybe paint this. This is that piece that I think is red right there. But I don't know if I'm going to even worry about that. So let's just get working on this thing. I'm really excited. So I'm going to go ahead and just do some sub-assemblies and just the basic stuff. No need. You guys aren't interested in watching that. I'm probably just going to get the whole chassis put together, get the engine put together, just kind of paint things as one. Going to go kind of military model type thing here, the way the tank guys, all my tank guy friends do it. Again, not going for a full-on detail model. Just want to have a really nice sitting there on the shelf model. Really enjoy it. So let's set that outside. But the thing I'm really going to concentrate on is making this body look right. But we got our different choices of years here. Oh, those are Oldsmobile bumpers. That's cool. I actually needed a set. Wow, there's a lot of neat stuff on this chassis. Some of the updates. So this is cool because I have an old Monte Carlo kit that doesn't have some of these updates on it, like these truck arms and things. This is the one we're going to be used for the later model, but you have an option to do an earlier model Monte. I love that versatility in the kit. We've got ourselves our hood. You've all seen this kit. I'm sure you're watching this, you've seen it. You just want to see me build it. And we got the cool tires, and we got the glass. So we got everything. Inventory is in. We are going to start building. First thing I'm going to do is start cleaning things up and get the sub-assemblies going. So we'll be right back. It'll probably be this quick. Alright, so I've cut everything from the tree that I'm going to first put together. I got to clean it up, get all the little nubs off, and do whatever needs to get done. But just taking a look at everything. It's all pretty clean. I'm not going to do too much. We've got to get this together, and on the bottom here we've got our ejector pin marks that they're bumped out. I actually could sand those down pretty good, but I'm not really going to worry about it so much on this car because I'm not going for a big detail job. A lot of parting lines are really not in bad spots and pretty easy to take care of your typical parting lines. So I'll probably just do some scraping. I'm going to go ahead and get it all ready to put together. And then we're just going to paint it all together. Just semi-gloss black. That's going to be the chassis color for this. And then we'll put the suspension on. There we go. Look at this. I got that all. I glued that all into place. I think we got some pretty good structure here. I think what we're going to do is I'm going to let this sit and set up. and then we'll move on to the next parts, because we're going to be creaking stuff and moving stuff, and you know, we want to get this thing ready to rock. And then we can go out. I'm going to shoot some paint on it, and then we'll start putting the suspension together. Okay, it has been a while, and I'm talking hours. A lot has happened since we last saw you. This is all set up and nice and sturdy. I tell you, that extra thin. Hello, Felix. That's Felix. This stuff is really awesome, because it definitely, wow. This thing was flimsy as heck, and look at how tough that thing is together. I definitely love this stuff, so I got myself a new bottle, as you saw. So let's continue on with the gluing of everything else. I think we'll start doing, I do see something that's kind of troublesome I didn't clean off. It's just right here. My little trick of getting the parting lines. Just has a little bit of parting line that just, I hate it when you can see that parting line sticking out, and it makes a round tube not look so much like a round tube anymore. Alright, so we've got this. The one thing I'm sitting here thinking, we're getting ready to go put chassis color. Again, I'm going with semi-gloss black. Don't really know what this car ran. I saw some recent posts on some of the boards we get on over this stuff, and some guys are speculating it's red, some are speculating it's silver or gray, or I don't know. Let's not go beating each other up. Everybody has their idea. There's really no good pictures. I even tried to find pictures of the way the car was when Cale drove it, and it was the Busch beer car, and I can't really find too much information on that particular car. From what I figured out, there was a couple of Monte Carlos, and this was the one that ran on short tracks and road courses, I think. And it's hard, you know. That was a long time ago. They didn't document stuff so much. So in that time, I got that on. That worked out pretty cool. So you know what? It is what it is. It's a cool model. I want it to sit there and look really cool. So I'm gonna say the black is the easiest right now for what I'm trying to get. And again, we're going to be more concentrating on making the outward appearance of this car looking smashing. In order to make a build video, I gotta, kind of make it quick. So we've got all these little pieces together. I like how that fits in there. That's pretty cool. That all helps it be structurally sound. Get those things straight. They look straight. That's pretty cool. All right, now we've got the chassis ready for paint. So it's late tonight. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get up in the morning and I'm going to paint this car. No need to really take you on that journey with me. Probably the only painting I'm going to show you is the body. I'm just going to be using Tamiya. I'm going to have to see what I have out there, but it's going to be a Tamiya, probably semi-gloss black is really what I'm going to go for. I love that paint. It just goes on so smooth. It has great coverage, and it sets up fast, and it just looks really good. So that's what I'm going to go with. That's probably, unless something changes my mind in between, but like in a snap, it's going to be this thing's painted, dried, and ready to rock, and we move on to the next thing. So we have got the chassis done. The basic frame, structure, roll cage is all done. We're going to get that painted, and then we've got to get all the chassis components I got piled up here. Control arms, shocks, they all got to get painted, and we can get this whole thing to where we can put wheels and tires on it. So, but I don't want to mess with that because I want to wait till I got the body and all that, especially with the flaring that I'm going to do on that, the rear quarter panels. I want to make sure that the tires fit in the right place in the rear. So here we go. That's that. I'm starting to wonder, because the way I do these, and I don't know, this might be a multi-parter. I don't know. I wing this as I go. You guys got to understand. I don't have too well set on how I do this. So I'm going to go to bed, and tomorrow morning I'll get this painted and we'll take a look at it.